Welcome to the Stoned Heen View, a podcast series which interviews a range of sport club representatives and leading professional sport club personnel during the COVID-19 shutdown period. We find out what these people are doing during the current health crisis with some of our most popular sports seasons postponed. I'm Mark Heenan, and today I'm obviously your co-host of the summer series, and we are at episode 41. And it's very important to mention that the person that we have as the summer series co-host is actually joining us live from the Gold Coast, the Magic Millions, and his name's Ben Carbonaro. And Ben, welcome back to, obviously, the podcast, Stoned Heen View on the summer series. You're our co-host, but we're going to talk to you today a bit about the Magic Millions and what's happening up there. There's a hive of activity. So how is it?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for the opportunity to join you up here at the sunny Gold Coast at Bundle at the Magic Millions Sales Complex. Yeah, day two of the Gold Coast yearling sale. And we had the barrier draw for the 2-year-old and 3-year-old Magic Millions races yesterday. Today, one of the highlights was Lot 322 went for $1.8 million. Picked up by Coolmore Stud. Lots of money going around up here.
Now, we understand that the Magic Millions, there's, it is a horse race and there's the barrier draw, but it's a major part of the yearling sale. And from what I've seen, that there's day mine with the yearling sale from the 12th to the 18th of January. So it's a really week-long carnival, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. They've extended the sale for an extra day. That'll go to next Monday. Yeah, it's a very, very big. And you've got the $10 million race day, obviously, on the Saturday as well, exclusively for Magic Millions graduates. So not just from this sale, they've been bought at the Tasmanian sale, Perth, Adelaide. They all qualify to race on that day.
Now, just talk us through what's happened with yourself before you even got to the Magic Millions, because you're a very passionate person when it comes to some of the sports that you follow. And we know that you run the Chat podcast, which is a horse racing podcast that you talk to different people in horse racing. Then you also got 3 Feet Radio, which specializes in netball. So obviously horse racing and netball are two of your passions, but you weren't going to miss this for quids. But just talk us through the last week with you, because you had to self-isolate for a period of time. Just talk us through how, when you left Melbourne to get up to the Gold Coast, and also you spent a bit of time in Brisbane as well. Just talk us through what happened.
Okay, so I flew into Brisbane last Tuesday. Thank you to my good mate Matt Moore. I stayed at his place. I had a COVID test as soon as I arrived, and it came back negative. But then I got rushed up here by Matt just before the 6 p.m. lockdown for Brisbane on Friday, and then I had to self-isolate until 6 p.m. Monday night. I wasn't allowed to get up, go for a walk and stuff. Other than that, I wasn't really allowed to do much else. And now I'm here. Now I'm up here on the Gold Coast having a great time, doing stuff with the chat. Got the GoPro camera out, recording stuff every day, videos and stuff. And thanks to Sarah, my champion editor and graphics whiz. There's a video up now highlighting the highlights of day one. So we've got the barrier draw on there at the beach and the horses galloping along the beach. The horse sales as well, day one of those. I've done a little bit more of that today, and actually going to be interviewing Joe O'Neill from Prime Thoroughbreds. I'm palatial surrounds of Prime Thoroughbreds marquee here. We've got the trophy here from when they won a race on Magic Millions Day back in 2017. I'm going to be interviewing Joe for the next episode of the chat, probably straight after I've spoken to you. And it'll be for the first time ever that I've had my guests sitting with me rather than doing it via Zoom, and they're on somewhere else.
Can you relate your experiences to what you went through in Melbourne during the hard lockdown and the stage 4 lockdown? But you also had a situation that when, you had to speak, you don't have to mention their name, but you had to speak to your flight agency a little bit about details and getting up there. But more to the point that there were some hurdles that you had to go through. And also we need to point out that Brisbane and that part of southeast Queensland was actually declared a hotspot because it was the mutant strain of the virus.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the UK strain. I believe it was a cleaner who caught it at the Hotel Grand Chancellor in Brisbane. But here on the Gold Coast, we're COVID safe here. We're COVID free. You're still going to do all your QR codes and everything. There's no masks up here, but everyone's in a good mood. Everyone's pretty chilled out up here, so it's been good.
How is it to actually be in the area of the Magic Millions? I'm not sure how many times you've gone to this event, but it's part of your yearly calendar. It's probably one of the things you look forward to the most. But how is it different this year with the COVID protocols in place as opposed to previous years?
Well, obviously we've got to download the app called One Breadcrumb to check in every morning or every afternoon when we come in, and when you leave, you're supposed to check out as well. Obviously, there's a lot less Asian clients here this year. but they're all buying online. They usually would be here. Quite a few people from New South Wales that I would usually see that aren't here, just because of the regulations, they can't be here. So again, they're also buying. They're bidding online too to buy the horses.
What's the atmosphere, do you find, particularly with the yearling sales, because it is a major part of this Magic Millions carnival? And I think it's important to mention that not only does the Magic Millions attract the who's who in racing, whether it's the trainers or the jockeys, even if it's the owners as well, particularly with the yearling sales, but it attracts quite a wide range of celebrities. I mean, the first couple of people you think of when you think of the Magic Millions, you think of Jerry Harvey, Mr. Retail King, and someone that is been around the Australian, I suppose, landscape in that capacity for some time. And people of Queensland of VIP significance are actually there in attendance.
Yeah, I saw, you're an Essendon fan, Mark. I saw Roger Merritt yesterday. He was here.
Mm-hmm.
Had the pleasure of chatting with Mr. Danny Delray, who played 62 games for Footscray. You might remember Danny Delray. Basically, it's the who's who up here. Gabe Waterhouse is here. Alan Jones was here yesterday. John Massara from Arrowfield Stud. Anyone's here. Although New South Wales people, a lot of them who are here, they've come via the back door. They've quarantined in Byron Bay or via the Southern Highlands and come in here. Or they've all sorted out how to come here. But there's obviously still a lot of people from New South Wales that aren't here. Even some Melbourne people aren't here. But again, they're just bidding online.
How do the jockeys actually acclimatise to going to Magic Millions? Because perhaps some of the interstate jockeys, not only would they have to quarantine, but they mightn't be used to the climate. Because, I mean, I've lived up in Queensland, and I have to admit, living in the summer, you have to adjust to that sort of humidity, the stickiness in the air. Have you spoken to any jockeys, or how do they go about preparing for the Magic Millions?
I haven't spoken to them. I've seen a couple up here. So basically what they do is they're from New South Wales. They come in, one of them I know, for example, came in via Byron Bay, did 14 days quarantine in Byron Bay. James McDonald, the partner of Caitlin Mallion from Channel 7, ex-jockey herself, he did it. And then basically, in terms of adjusting the track up here, if you don't ride here regularly, you probably talk to local jockeys. You've probably also got your manager that'll give you all your data and your speed maps and everything, and obviously your trainers. They'll know the track up here, even if they're not locals to Queensland. So it's just basically getting as much information as you can to help you to hopefully ride a winner up here on the day at the Gold Coast.
Now, Ben, a little bit of banter with you. You seem to be a bit of an ambassador for the Magic Millions. I mean, I've been to your house before, and you have more Magic Millions caps than anyone else that I know on the earth. You seem to just get a stash each year. There's the one that you're wearing at the moment, which has got the white.
This is one of the new 2021 ones.
Yes, okay. So it's going to go on your high possession or prize possession list, and you'll take a bit home with you. So you've got some memorabilia items. But I have noticed that when you have gone to some of these country cups in Victoria, that sometimes I think your head's stuck in the cup or something like that. But what's going to happen?
Unfortunately, this one here, I cannot get my head stuck in it, because if I try to, I'll probably snap it. I've got a big head. That won't fit on my big fat head.
What are the plans post Magic Millions celebrations? And actually just talk us through the actual event day of the races. I believe it's this Saturday.
It is, yeah. It's a $10.5 million race day. So you've got 9 races, and that all adds up to $10.5 million. Usually what will happen is for the last race, everyone will come over here to the sales. There's a special night session. All the big wigs get wined and dined and looked after, and they've obviously won some money on the punt, or one of their horses has won on the race day. It's just one big party over here. And seriously, if anyone ever wants to come to the sale up here, that Saturday night session I would recommend. It is absolutely electric. It is amazing. It's heaving. It's grandstand, crazy. Even the grandstand on the side there, where people, you don't need a wristband to get in there. You just sit on this. That's packed. The bar at the back here is pumping. There's usually a DJ with some music or a band with some music. And from here, everyone goes all over the place. Everyone just goes to restaurants and bars over the Gold Coast. A lot of people go to the Star, to the casino, and they do it all again on Sunday. The sale starts again on the Sunday at 2 p.m.
Yeah, so obviously it attracts people from the horse racing industry, but also outside the horse racing industry as well. And there's a real sort of carnival atmosphere. You've obviously caught up with some people that you know, prominent people in horse racing in Melbourne and Victoria, and people that you've had on your podcast, which is the chat as well. So is it good to actually sort of this is a marquee event for obviously Australian summer, but also for the people that are part of your podcast, but also the people that you know in horse racing, and everyone sort of gathers around this event?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone up here, and we've had people approach me going, "Oh, g'day." I'm like, "Oh, we're from off Twitter or whatever." It's great. It's great to put a name to the face. I mean, it's all well and good to talk on a computer or on a phone, but to actually meet these people in person and talk to them, even if it's just for 2 minutes, it's really good. I think it's really important to get to meet these people, like I say, in person. I think it's important to do that. Talking about people, I've spoken to Anthony Mithen's up here. And Danny O'Brien is also up here as well. So is Jade Augustine too. used to be marketing at Geelong Racing Club. She's in the syndicate of an all-female-owned horse called Goddess that it's racing on Saturday, ridden by Steph Thornton, who's originally from down Geelong way as well.
Could just a couple of final things. Talk us through the horse that went for 1.9 million, a bit of background on that. And also, how many Group 1s are they holding this weekend for the Magic Moons on the Gold Coast?
None of them in Group 1. The 2 feature races are restricted listed, which means that they have to have been bought at a Magic Millions yearling sale to qualify for the races. They're not Group 1s. It's a special kind of...
But they're worth quite a bit though, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Each race is worth between $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million
so
Saturday.
Financially in Australia, if we look at big race days, obviously the Melbourne Cup, the Golden Slip of the Everest, we can't forget that. If we look at the Magic Millions, as far as non-Group 1 horse races go, and when we talk about Group 1s, they're normally worth the most.
Melbourne Cup, Caulfield Cup, Cox Plate, those.
Yeah.
They're different to that.
But is this the most attractive horse racing event for particularly not the glamour and the yearling sales, but if we look at sort of non-Group 1s events, I mean, they're worth quite a bit. I don't think you would have many places in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can win the Magic Millions 2-year-old Classic, for example, there's a stallion prospect there, which means that you'll retire the horse once it gets to 3, 4, 5 even, and then you can breed from that, and then hopefully sell some horses, sell some that have been bred from that here at this sale, or other Magic Million sales around Australia.
Yeah, I suppose in some ways, not to suggest that trainers would get into horse racing to make money, they would have the love of the horse, but I think it's important to point out that you know me, I'm a bit of a cricket person as well.
Yeah, you are.
I suppose the analogy that I'm trying to draw to here is that if you have a person or a cricketer that isn't going to play for Australia, but they can make money out of playing in the Big Bash or playing in the 2020 league, that these horse trainers up here, they can still earn a living by not going into Group 1s or putting themselves into Group 1s and paying that acceptance fee, I think it is, but they can still earn a decent living by entering these horses into a Gold Coast Magic Millions event. I mean, do they have to pay a lot to get into these for an acceptance fee to get into the Gold Coast Magic Millions?
You have to pay, I'm not exactly sure of the figure, but yeah, you do have to pay an acceptance fee, and you've also got to pay a fee to nominate. So basically, you can pay to nominate your horse for all the Magic Millions races across Australia, or you can do it exclusively for the Gold Coast race day only. So yeah, there certainly are options there available to you.
Now, as we wrap up, what are your sort of plans, I suppose, at the conclusion of the Magic Millions, and talk about some of the obstacles or hurdles that you might have to face in terms of coming out of quarantine back to Melbourne?
Yeah, I think maybe because I came from a red zone, which is Brisbane, and a green zone, Gold Coast, I may have to spend an extra week up here, but I'll have to talk to my travel agent. She'll be able to accommodate that to me. Or maybe the Magic Millions staff will be able to help me and explain all that to me as well. They've been nothing but very welcoming and very helpful to me while I've been up here. It's been great. Really good.
But obviously you coming back to Melbourne at some stage as well, you'll have to go through that, and you would have had to wear a mask on the plane and then you have to do that on the way back. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with you, Ben Carbonaro, because you go to these fantastic places and you connect very well, particularly with the horse racing industry and other parts of life as well. But one thing I will say is that when you take your luggage up there, you're probably going to come back with more things because you're getting all this memorabilia as well.
I always have to find some extra and wrangle all those caps. I have to always try and sneak them on somewhere with an extra bag. I always do it somehow. It works, but I don't know how, but it does work.
Well, thank you, Ben. It's been a different episode of the Stoned Heen View. Obviously, you can get in contact if you have a guest in mind from sport. You can check out the Stoned Heen View and type it into Facebook, and you can also check it out on Instagram. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcasts and also on Spotify. Our launching platform is Podbean. So this is where we upload the podcast. And we'll also have a YouTube channel, and you're actually recording this, Ben. So thank you for doing that. We've got a Twitter account called @Stoned Heen View as well. And Ben, just a quick shout out for your podcast as well. Understanding you're doing some great things with the GoPro and getting footage for the chat podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm using it for all my basically just going around just doing some videos of what's happening here at the sales and just all that kind of thing. I'm very lucky that Andrew Bensley from SEN Track, formerly Sky, he's agreed to have a chat with me tomorrow. I don't know if we can use that, or probably a quick 2 to 3 minute chat. You could always pop it up on your social media channels if you like, or just retweet the chat's posts. You're welcome to use it anytime, mate.
Well, thanks for joining us on the podcast today, Ben. Just a little footnote to end the podcast. We're going to get Mark Stone back, our regular co-host, just for one episode in the coming week or two. We won't mention the person that we're interviewing, but we're actually going to talk to someone around broadcasting in the Australian Open that has a really important part to play. So the Australian Open tennis has actually been moved February 8 to February 21. So we won't mention their name yet, but they're very prominent in the media, and they've also had a fair bit to do with the Australian Open and the court announcing and the internal aspect to the event from a media point of view. So we look forward to having that discussion with that person. We look forward to having Mark Stone back. So we'll speak to you soon, Ben, and we will chat to you next time on the Stoned Heen View. This has been episode 41, a little bit different, a bit of a Magic Millions wrap and a bit of a preview in relation to the horse races this week. So we'll see you soon on the Stoned Heen View for episode 42. This has been episode 41 of the Stoned Heen View. Thank you.